I'm Ryan from ExtremeTerrain.com and this is Throttle Out. I want to tell you about the most interesting and exciting build we've been able to do to date. The Southern Delaware Jeep Club came to us with the Jeep of a police officer who's local to our area, who was unfortunately injured on the job. Well, we were able to make some modifications while he was on the mend, so let's check out the build. Today we're doing something a little bit special. So today I'm with George Dorman. George is the father of Officer Chris Dorman, who is a local police officer who was recently shot 7 times when on the job. Miraculously, Chris survived and will be making a full recovery.
Well, Christopher's been in the local law enforcement and fire in our community for several years. He's worked as a county sheriff and he's been involved in his hometown, Fallcroft, since he was 6 years old. He purchased the Jeep a few years ago. Over the course of years, he had to sell that vehicle. The Jeep that he has now is his pride and joy.
The Southern Delaware Jeep Club wanted to do a couple of modifications to Chris's Jeep. Well, we were happy to take the opportunity to take that up a notch and do even more. What do you think he's going to say?
I'm afraid I can't actually say what my son may say. He's going to go nuts. He's going to be ecstatic.
Yeah, I cannot wait to show this to Chris. He doesn't know we have it. This is going to be a big surprise, so the big reveal is definitely going to be something special. Before we can do that, we have to get the Jeep here to get started. I hear it's on its way, and I don't think it's alone, so let's check it out.
This morning we're here at Station 5 in East Whiteland Township. This is Christopher's Jeep, his baby. We're taking it over today. We're having an escort from the local fire department to take it to ExtremeTerrain. As far as he knows, I took his Jeep to have some things done to it this morning, and he has no clue whatsoever what's going on.
Hasn't had really the time to do it with all the hours he's been working between Fallcroft and Millbourne. So I think it's going to be total shock for him by the time it's actually revealed.
I'm sure Chris will have no words, and he'll be very emotional because this means that much to him. Time to have some fun. I'd like to thank everybody today that has helped us get Christopher's Jeep here to ExtremeTerrain.com. It was exciting, a lot of fun. Here it is, guys. Do your thing. Thank you, everybody.
Well, now that we got the Jeep in the shop, it's time to start wrenching on it, and for that we have a couple of Chris's family members, Pat and Andrew, helping us out, as well as George. So we started on the front of the Jeep, and Chris had shortened up his factory front bumper, so we decided to go with the Barricade Extreme HD stubby front bumper with some accessories. One of those being the Barricade 12,000-pound winch with synthetic line, because Chris does have a little bit of a history of getting himself stuck.
In the Pine Barrens, he was off-roading and went through a water obstacle and had an issue, and yes, he did get stuck and ended up spending the night in his Jeep until his friends could return the next day and get him out of it and make repairs. I think he'll love it.
That's some dedication. Well, with this winch, he shouldn't have that problem. No more night sleep in the Pine Barrens. He'll be able to pull himself out, no problem. I think this bumper is going to be perfect for Chris. He obviously likes that stubby look. The big tires that we're going to put on the Jeep aren't going to interfere with the bumper because it is stubby, and he has a history of getting himself stuck, so this winch is certainly going to help out with that. After we finish up the front here, we'll move on to the back with the matching Barricade Extreme HD rear bumper and tire carrier. Then onto the sides with Barricade rock sliders and Barricade ruby rails. Well, we got a ton of stuff done today, and we couldn't have gotten nearly as much done without the help of Chris's family. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and giving us a hand. Tomorrow we're going to dig into an even bigger job, so we're going to have an even bigger crew here helping us out. Let's get started. So we're here on day 2 and we're going to get started with the lift kit installation, but obviously we have some extra hands to help us out. We're here today with the Southern Delaware Jeep Club, who were the ones who kicked off the idea of doing a little bit of work on Chris's Jeep while he was rehabbing, and they're here to help us turn some wrenches.
Chris had his accident and we wanted to do something special for him. Well, contacted ExtremeTerrain and made a request to see if they would like to get involved with it. Add just a simple set of bumpers and a winch. It catapulted into what we have now. He's thinking that he's getting tires and his check engine light fixed right now, and it's just going to be fantastic.
So we have all of you guys here. We also have a representative from the Delaware County Sheriff's Department who's going to be helping us turn some wrenches as well. So let's get started. We're going to get this thing up on the lift, get the lift kit installed, and then we'll stop and talk a little bit more about why we picked this specific lift kit for Chris.
Here you go, you got the next one, bud. You got it.
So the lift kit we decided to go with on this build is the TerraFlex 4-inch. This Jeep already had a small lift on it, but we wanted to go big for Chris and install a set of 37s. The 4 inches and the flat fenders he already had installed should give him plenty of room. This lift kit includes everything from all 8 control arms to a front track bar, all the shocks and everything else we need to get it bolted up. So once we get the lift done, we'll be able to bolt on the 37s. Chris will be able to take this thing out on the street and on the trail without having any problems.
Chris was a huge part of our department. We're really sad that he moved on to Holcroft, but he's made a huge impact in his community there. I'm glad that I'm able to be a part of this and fixing up his new Jeep so that he can get back on those trails as quickly as possible.
I can't wait to get to meet him and give him the keys. Well, we're starting to wrap up the lift kit. We're gonna move on to the supercharger next. It's no secret that big heavy tires can make a Jeep feel like a dog, so we're going to go ahead and re-gear this Jeep, but we also wanted to do something else to add some more power back. So we decided to give Chris a Rip supercharger to give him a lot more power to help spin those big tires, both on the road and off the road. I can't wait to give him the keys so he can see this thing with the intercooler sticking through the front grille. So we have a couple more things to button up with the supercharger, and then we're gonna move on to the exhaust. We decided to go with the Flowmaster American Thunder High Clearance Catback. This will not only let that Rip supercharger exhale a little bit better, but it'll also give the Jeep a little bit more growl, and maybe most importantly provide some additional clearance, so when Chris is off-road he doesn't have to worry about banging up his exhaust. The factory location isn't always the best for somebody who wants to take their Jeep off-road. You can always bend a tip or even smash the muffler. With this high clearance system, everything will be tucked up out of the way. While we were underneath the Jeep, we also installed a set of exhaust spacers that'll provide a little bit of additional clearance between the drive shaft and the hot exhaust pipe. So at full flex with this 4-inch suspension, again, Chris isn't gonna have any clearance issues. And finally, underneath the Jeep, we installed a skid plate that will cover both the engine and the transmission. So when Chris is off-road, he has no worries about damaging any of the soft underbelly of his Jeep. Well, now that we're finished up underneath, we're gonna move along to the top and install a new soft top and some other accessories. Chris already had a factory-style soft top on his Jeep, but his soft upper doors were ripped and the other 3 windows were pretty well scratched up from pulling them out and throwing them in the back of the Jeep. And George, Chris's dad, said that Chris really likes the slant back look. So we decided to replace the top with the Best Top Trek Top NX, which is going to give Chris the slant back top that he's looking for, also give him the Sunrider feature so he can easily pop it open for the open air driving experience, and he'll still be able to remove the 3 rear windows whenever he wants to. Of course, we're also going to replace the soft upper doors with ones that are nice and solid, so if it's raining, the winter, or Chris just has his top up, he'll be able to stay both warm and dry. Once we finish up with the top installation, we're going to move on to some lighting. Well, that finishes up the lighting upgrades on the front of Chris's Jeep, and up here we decided to go with Raxium Everything. We put 3-inch cubes on top of the bumper hoop, a 21.5-inch light bar below, a 50-inch above the windshield, and of course the Raxium headlights. Now, a lot of this lighting is going to be for those dark back roads with no oncoming traffic or any night wheeling that Chris wants to do, but of course the headlights are going to get a lot more use. JKs have notoriously bad headlights out of the factory, and these are going to make it a lot safer and easier for Chris to see at night, especially in bad weather. So let's get George back in here. All right, George, finally time to see this thing when it's all finished up. Come on in, let's take a look at it. So there it is, what do you think?
He's gonna go nuts. I'm gonna need a ladder to get in it. I hope somebody knows that.
It's pretty big, isn't it?
Wow.
We touched a little bit of everything. So we did obviously the 4-inch lift kit. It's on 37s now, a little bit bigger than what it rolled in on. I know one of the initial things that it was coming in for was new upper half windows. So of course we took care of that, but also the top. that I think you said Chris was pretty excited about, right?
Yeah,
Getting that slant back.
he's been looking through the catalogs, and what you guys have done to far out exceed what he's even circled in the books.
We got the supercharger all bolted up. I can't wait for you to hear this thing. Let me fire it up.
I can't wait. Oh, man. I'll be honest with you, he would know it's his Jeep.
Other than the color, yeah.
Other than the color, but this will throw him off completely.
Yeah.
But it just looks awesome. The tires are going to have his head spinning.
Yeah.
And the back looks so cool.
Yeah. I know that was one of the things you were excited about because you were talking the other day about this slant back, fastback soft top, and that Chris wasn't sure he could do it on the two-door without modifying the sport cage. So there you go. We got you hooked up with the best top truck top on there.
He hasn't really cried through this whole ordeal. I have a feeling this is going to have him in tears because it's his passion.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, guys. It's just awesome.
So George, if you could pick one thing about the Jeep that Chris is really going to fall in love with, the biggest thing that he's going to notice and like about it, what would you say it is?
There's not any one thing. I mean, honestly, you've hit everything on his wish list. I mean, I honestly don't think there's one thing on here that isn't going to surprise him. And when he sees the supercharger, that's just going to...
Yeah, with the intercooler sticking through the grill.
Oh, that's going to... I mean, Chris was never a hot rodder, but to have the power to be able to get through what he's anticipating doing with his Jeep is just going to make it phenomenal.
I can't wait to give it to Chris, but before we do that, there's one more thing we need your help with. Let's get to that.
Okay.
Well, George, you put the final touch, the final decal on the Jeep. Tell everybody what this is.
Well, that would be Christopher's badge number. That's the final touch. He's going to be ecstatic with that. It's incredible.
That's awesome. Well, we finally got this thing finished 100% buttoned up. Let's get it on the trailer, get it down to the road to reveal it to Chris. For this month's product break, I'm bringing you the Superchips Flashpaq F5 programmer for all 2007 to 2016 Wranglers. Now, this is an updated piece of hardware, and it is a really nice update. This includes a much larger and brighter color screen versus the old Flashpaq, which was just black and white, and this is a much faster device, which makes tuning and calibrating your Jeep a much quicker and simpler process. As far as features and functions, it's going to be very similar to the last generation Flashpaq, which will allow you to calibrate for larger tires or a different gear ratio, keeping your speedometer and odometer accurate, and also change a few other creature comforts like horn chirps, light delays, and one-touch turn signals. The Flashpaq also gives you a few additional tunes which will be able to get a little bit more power or a little bit more efficiency out of your Jeep, although the more powerful tunes do require you to use a higher octane fuel. Unfortunately, that's just part of the game when you're trying to squeeze a little bit more power out of your engine. The Flash Cal is also available in this F5 hardware, however that does not include the additional tunes for power, it's just for calibrating for updated tire and gear ratio. The nice thing is, if you get the Flash Cal now and decide you want the Flashpaq later, you can always update your hardware through the Superchips website for an additional fee. So that's it for this month's product break. Now let's get back to the big reveal of Officer Dorman's Jeep. We're finally here at the Southern Delaware Jeep Club Beach Bash, and this is an awesome event. There are a ton of great Jeeps, we have some great weather. I cannot wait to give Chris his Jeep, so we're gonna take a look around and then it's time. We're only minutes away from giving this thing back to Chris. It's finished up. I know I've said it to you before, but what do you think he's gonna do?
I think he'll be speechless. He's going to go out of his mind in excitement.
That'll be awesome. Hopefully we can make him speechless. So we're gonna get in this thing and roll down the road.
This is Chris Dorman right here. He's a Holcroft police officer up in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. He actually wound up having to deal with a police officer's worst nightmare. And the fact that he's standing here before any of you right now is an absolute miracle.
So we're finally heading down the road, gonna give this thing back to Chris. I cannot wait to see his reaction.
So, does that sound good? To go ahead and check out what we did to this amazing Jeep.
He's crying. He's crying.
He's like a baby!
Chris, nice to finally meet you.
Thank you.
Here's your Jeep back. We did a little bit of work to it. It'll be ready for the road, get you back and forth to work, and you'll be able to wheel it and drive it on the beach, whatever you want to do. It's good to go.
That's awesome.
It's
Incredible.
Wait! Wait! There's more!
It's incredible. It's amazing. Can't wait to drive it.
I'm speechless. It's awesome.
We're really excited to see
I was
your reaction on this
speechless.
thing. Yeah.
You almost got a couple tears out of me.
All right.
Sounds good. Awesome. I love it. So awesome. Thank you guys so much. I can't thank you guys enough. It's awesome. I love it.
Well, that's it for this episode. But remember, we have monthly episodes, so subscribe so you can check out what we have for you next month. But for now, remember, when in doubt, throttle out.